That's good. Mm-hmm. This man out here, bro. Every time we go and get ready for something, every time it never fails. He's like, "Oh, hold on, let me go do something." He should have been ready as soon as we started the show, but he runs off 30 seconds beforehand. So, you see an empty seat. Not like you're really going to miss the guy or anything like that because I'm here. But hello, old man. How are you doing? How are you well? Are you maintaining your vitamins? Can you hear me? Just wanted to make sure that all your levels are fine.
I'm doing great, and I'm gonna have to show this young man what it's like to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Hello, everyone. I look forward to this podcast and this young man teaching him the things he needs to know.
There is nothing. There is nothing that I can be taught right now. Right now, I mean, there's still things that I can learn. There's still things that I can learn.
That's
There's
right.
nothing
That's right.
that you can teach me right
That's
now.
the problem with you young people.
But
You
that's
got a lot of room there.
uh-huh.
You just don't want it filled with information.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to
Mm-hmm.
fill it with everything
So
else.
so let's put this on the other foot. And when we try to tell y'all some stuff, oh, I'm stuck in my way. I don't want to do it. It's better my way. This is the way I like
Because
to
it
do it.
works. It
Mm-hmm.
works. It
Yeah.
works.
But do you want to save yourself some time, or do you want to sit there and take a year to do it?
It works.
Oh, okay. Okay. You want to use you want to take
Hey,
some more of the resource that you're very
oh,
limited of, and you want to take some more of
it's
the resource.
proven. It's unproven.
But yeah,
I know it works.
proven, but take more of that limited resource, or have it done quicker because it's the ease of use, and I can get it done in half the time, if not sooner. I think I'll take option B because that gives me more time to do stuff and have fun doing the things that I enjoy. I don't know. But anyway, to y'all that are out there, once again, thank you for tuning in for another podcast
Absolutely.
episode. We appreciate you guys watching the videos, liking, subscribing, all the. I don't know why I have to tell you this. This should not be a thing that I have to beat you over the head. You should do this because you love the podcast. So just do it. All right. I'm not gonna tell y'all this again. I'm not your parents. I'm not your father. I'm not your mother. I'm not gonna sit there
Listen,
and tell you again.
this is new people. It's new people coming on. They need to know to share, subscribe, and put comments in because sometimes they need to validate what I'm telling you that you need to know.
Validate through what?
Through
Oh, in the
comments
comments. Oh,
in the
okay.
comments.
But you know how that's gonna go, right? They can be like, "Oh, the guy Tack, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, that's a smart one." He's very he's about 50%, hit and miss. But that guy Tacky is a sharp one right there. He's got to go places.
Yeah. That's what all the young people think. But hey, we're here for a reason
Mm-hmm.
to guide
To get on our
and
nerves.
direct.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say to get on nerves. I was about to say you're
Direction
absolutely.
and correction. Direction
I
and
thought you were gonna
correction.
say get on our nerves. I was about to say, yeah, you're absolutely correct. That is.
No, direction and correction. That's our role.
Mm-hmm. Get on nerves and get on nerves. Yes, you got it. Double double.
Well, with all that being said, happy Black History Month. And I hope and I just want to put this little disclaimer out there. I wish we can just stop the violence for one day. And I'm not worried about around the world, but just in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Black on black, black on white, white on white. Just one day that we say, hey, we're not going to do this to my brother or my sister. That'd be a great thing. I think we should be promoting that. at least one day. We start with one day, then we start with 2 days, then we go to a week, a
It
month, a
wouldn't.
year.
I wouldn't give it past 6 hours. I wouldn't give it past 6 hours because
It
there's
just
too many.
I'm putting it out there. It would be nice.
Yeah, ideally, yeah, it would be nice, but
Yeah.
there's too many egos that go unchecked and people that don't want to check their egos. So that hubris. Nobody wants to put it aside to not take it up with the person that may have called them a name or this, that, and the third, and all this other stuff. They want to make a point right then and there. So to each their own, I suppose. But yeah, ideally, what you're stating
You know, it would
would
be
be
a great
nice.
thing.
It would be
Yeah.
nice. Yes, 100%. But I think this is your week, is it not, old man? I mean, you want to bring it
Yes,
in with,
yes.
Black History Month, which I've already said last week. I have some things to say about it. But this is your topic week, so you got the
Yeah.
you got the cars. You got the
Oh,
keys.
yeah.
I hope you brought your driving
Let's
glasses.
talk about the historical black colleges.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about HBCU. It's HBCUs. Um, why are they having a hard time with financing and accreditation issues? And 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 the thing about it, I see a great product. And I'm not trying to downplay or use people as a product, but I'm saying I see the people that come out of these schools do good things. We got a vice president that went to one.
Mm-hmm.
The first female vice president that went to one. Um, Black female that went to one. We got Oprah. She went there. So what I'm saying is the product shows that, and I'm gonna bring it back that started the sit-in movement in the '60s. HBCUs started that movement. And so I'm just saying it's value there, but they're not getting the funding and losing accreditation due to money. And you got these people out here who graduate from these institutions that, why are these institutions at risk? They shouldn't be. I mean, there's over 100 in the US. But I mean, I know most schools, the alumni, you know, contribute to the school.
Mm-hmm.
Where are the alumni? And then you got another industry which was established also in the HBCUs is the frats and sororities. Why are those industries not funneling money to keep these institutions in, from closing and losing their accreditation?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a couple of things for that. The first thing, a lot of those institutions aren't getting. I believe they aren't getting the funding because of I want to say, the sports aspect of it. That'd probably be the first thing. A lot of the sports programs, from what there's a specific instance that I'm thinking of currently. I don't know if it's 100% factual, but funding was being taken from the football program and things like that, and lined in the director's pockets. So that's the first. I think that's one of the things that's affecting HBCUs. Another thing is, a lot of colleges are making money off of sports. We know this. a lot of kids don't really feel like they're going to benefit from going to HBCU if they're trying to pursue certain adventures, football, basketball, things like that. Granted, it's starting to change. We're starting to see kids
Absolutely.
going to
It's,
HBCUs as of I think 2 years ago, but that's been the norm. If you're trying to pursue something in sports, you go to a regular college. You go to a Notre Dame, Alabama.
oh, I don't like that. I don't like that term, regular college.
I mean, that's what they're gonna say. A regular college, historically black college, a regular college. I mean, you can say you don't like the term, but what else you gonna call it?
Well,
A
it
historically
doesn't
black.
matter if it's historically black. It's a
Mhm.
college. College is a college. It's not a regular.
But
You not say going to a regular
there's a distinct
college.
difference between the two. Like one historically black and a regular school. Like if you go to a historically black school, it's going to be 99.9% black people there. You go to a regular college, you're going to have a diverse mixture of different cultures and races when you go to that school. So I mean, if you have an issue with me saying a regular college versus a,
Well,
then
I'm just saying college. Let's just use that term
mhm.
because when you say regularly, is it you distinguishing one
But that's how they are
from
distinguished.
the other?
That's how they're distinguished. What you mean? Like, what do you mean? That's how they're distinguished. So you go HBCU, okay, historically black
And
university.
then you say a regular college.
Yeah, regular college, Alabama, Notre Dame, Miami, Virginia Tech. I mean, they
What
distinct.
makes them regular any different from HBCU?
That's how they're looked at because you put the language in there yourself. You called yourself a historically black college. You made yourself different from a regular college. What do you mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was established based on the fact that we couldn't go to those
No,
colleges.
and I understand that, but that's what I mean. What else you want? You're calling yourself.
But
You're still calling yourself.
education is education.
Yeah, you are
But
correct. But here's the thing: if you're still calling yourself a HBCU, I'm just going to treat it the same way that you're calling it. You're calling yourself HBCU. I'm going to treat you the same way that you're calling yourself. So a regular college, Notre Dame, Alabama, Colorado, things like that, versus FAMU, NCA&T, whatever the other ones. Those are the only two I can think of right now because FAMU.
right. It's a lot. It's a
But
hundred different.
going
Yeah,
back to what I
right.
was saying, a lot of kids that are pursuing those goals as far as sports want to go to those colleges that are well known and have the and have a pathway to going there. Whereas they don't. It's very rare that you hear somebody coming from a HBCU being a number one draft prospect, and unless it's like it's more common, I would say, in basketball than it is in like football or another sport like that. Basketball, you hear more because that's that stigma that you get
What stigma? What stigma are you talking about? What stigma are you talking about?
that most of the basketball players are black and most of the black people would typically go to a HBCU. I mean,
Okay.
are you going to argue with me against that? It's just
No,
like,
no,
okay,
I'm not arguing about that.
okay. But that's a key factor in that in I as to me seeing why they're not getting money because that runs a majority of the college's books is going to be sports. So if you're not getting your product, your students going there to put the school on the map per se, as they would say, then you're not going to get that funding from the NCAA or whatever else you're using to fund your programs. Especially if you're taking that funding to use it for other things and not the product that the people are signing up for. So you're basically shooting yourself in the foot at that point if you're not going to support those programs. And then also, you don't hear a lot of people. Yes, you have Oprah, but you have Oprah and you said the vice president, right? But
Harris, Harris,
how
that's
many more
been, yeah.
people do you hear come from other schools that are more well known as far as having money and things like that than you do at HBCUs? You know what I'm saying? Like those people, I feel like tend to be more in abundance coming from the typical college compared to an HBCU. So there's more people getting these jobs in corporate America that just from my analysis and looking at this, you have more people getting those jobs that are in the Fortune 100s, Fortune 500s that go to the typical college that are contributing back also to the college compared to the people that are in the HBCU. Because I don't know a whole lot of people that went to a HBCU that are in the Fortune 100s, and that may just be me not, looking it up,
Right,
but
right. I get that. I
just
get that.
from
It's
looking at
kind of
it
the
from
stuff.
a just looking at it
Right.
from a perspective, I mean, you have a higher number from more school from your typical colleges and things like that are getting these well off jobs that are able to contribute and line, be what's the word? Uh not donators, but the people that
You talking about the
you know what I'm talking about for the sports and stuff like
yes,
that.
yes,
They
yes.
donate absurd amounts of money because they're
You got me
boosters,
messed up.
boosters, boosters.
Boosters. That's
So
right.
you
That's right.
have more boosters from those schools,
The
right?
alumni,
Exactly.
the former
So
alumni. Yeah,
and then
that's right.
you have those people and also the athletes that are coming from those schools that are alumni, that may have went 3 years but they never graduated or whatever, but they went to that school and then they're also contributing money back. So it's just a wider gap in the outcome of product and the people that are in these positions that I'm seeing that's also affecting the what you're questioning, which is the funding and things like that for these HBCUs.
I went to school and I don't have my degree from a HBCU as
Mm-hmm.
well, but I see the product that comes out of HBCUs, and it's a good product.
Right.
What I'm saying is it's a valid, a, a accredited, it's a solid college, it's a solid university, it's a solid higher education, and I see the people who graduated from these colleges, and they represent very well,
Mm-hmm.
very well, for the most part. I hadn't seen anything that will say that, oh, that's not the way to go. They know who they are, they're confident in that, and they know what they know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's awesome to see. But with the accreditation in the and you brought sports in, you know, Dion brought to Jackson State a newfound vibrance on
Right.
historically black
But
colleges
did you hear the
based on the
issues?
football program.
Did you hear the issues he had with that though? People were
Oh,
stealing.
absolutely.
People were stealing from
Right.
him, and wasn't getting the funding. That's what I'm talking about. Like he wasn't getting the funding that he needed to get for the football team. The kids there were not necessarily the football players, but I think some kids like broke into the locker room and stole some of his stuff, his chains or something
His
like that.
jewelry,
And
right,
so,
stuff like that.
I mean, you're doing it to yourself. You're doing it to yourself.
I get it. I get it. A lot of times there's a transitional period. It takes time, but nobody wants to be victimized. I get it. I get it. So I heard that. I heard that, but and then I heard that people felt that Dion abandoned
But here's the go ahead. I got something on that, but go
abandoned
ahead.
historic black
Go
colleges,
ahead.
which I don't agree. I don't agree with
Yeah,
that. He did a lot more for it
there you go.
than him leaving is going to do to the college. He's brought attention there, especially in the sports side, the side that you said generates income for the school. But what I'm saying as a collective, you got an industry that makes a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
outside is the sororities and frats. You got these industries that originated at these colleges
Mm-hmm.
And is that money going there? A percentage of that money is going there to maintain? Because the only reason why I probably didn't go, and I'm being serious, because I've heard the stories of the debt that is accumulated from going there.
Mm-hmm.
It's higher there than to go to an Ivy League college.
Mm-hmm.
It's no incentive. Hey, I'm just trying to make it on my own. I don't have, I didn't grow up in a, wealthy family. I don't want to assume that kind of debt
Right.
going
So
to school.
so
But that's why the funding and all that stuff is so important.
well,
The Go ahead.
no, I sorry. Here's the thing. As with all things, there was trends. So 2000, tail end of my high school years, 2005, between 2005 to 2011, best time to go to HBCU because you had all those popular movies coming out. Stomp the Yard. You had all the spotlight being brought on them, going for the experience, right? So now that that's
Mhm.
gone, that people just forget about the sororities and fraternities for HBCUs because you don't have those kind of, you don't have the what was it, what was that movie that Nick Cannon was in with Drumline? You don't have that stuff. You don't have those movies coming out anymore, so people, that's second nature. You're not thinking about that stuff. The only time you're going to think about it is if somebody brings it up. It's like, oh yeah, like if you're talking to somebody like yourself, a kid talking to a parent. Oh, where should he? Oh, you should try maybe thinking about going to HBCU for the experience. The kid's not going to know what an HBC, what the experience of HBCU is at that point because you don't have anything to reference outside of those videos. And now that those videos are in the past and not really brought up a whole lot. I mean, they brought up in my generation because that was what was, like I said, that was that era. So we
All
still
right.
talk about it, but you don't have any more movies or things that's going to bring shine or spotlight to those experiences of HBCUs. Granted, they're not exactly one for one, exactly what's going to happen, but just that experience in general, as far as Battle of the Bands, things like that, or the whole, the steps, the, uh,
But the thing is that is more to those colleges than that.
I know, but
But
you're
that's what's
asking,
promoting it.
but you're asking some of the reasons why they're not getting that funding and the
Mhm.
sororities. People aren't going to know about them if you're not relevant. You're not going to know about it. That's how it is. If you're not relevant, you're not going to know about it. People my generation know about it because it was relevant at that time. I guarantee you, if you go out and poll 20 kids in their 20s or 18 and ask them, do they know about X situation or X fraternity, they'd be like, what is that? Most of them aren't going to know because it's not something of relevance. I'm not saying that they're irrelevant, but they're just not relevant in this time because there's nothing being talked about them. Like you have to really search to go find that stuff. Like it's not something that's just going to pop up on your Google page compared to, oh, Alabama wins another national championship or something. You know what I mean?
Well, why that?
Say what?
Why you think it's like that? What?
Because you're not getting any relevancy. I just said that. That's why if you had when
Why
when
why it's
Dion
not
when
relevant?
Dion was at Jackson State, you heard nothing. If I went to Google, I would see articles about Jackson State pretty much every other week because they were relevant.
Absolutely.
Because they were
That's right.
relevant. But if you're not relevant, you're not going to get the clicks or the views or whatever it is you need to keep your school on the map. Now, Jackson State may have a little, it depends on what they do between these next couple of years to determine whether or not they're going to stay relevant as far as their coaching or football program. That could turn into other things for that school. Since Dion was a name that they brought in, put them on the map, made them relevant for what they did as far as their wins and things like that. Put that HBCU on the map towards other people. Put eyes on the, oh, maybe it is okay to go to HBCU. But then when you hear the other side of it, what happened? Then people are like, whoa, I don't know about that. So it's a slippery slope that you just have to. They have to. I feel like they have to do more as far as showing support for the students that would plan to come there than what's been going on recently, if that makes sense. Like it's more so if you have people talking about you, if you have a prestigious person like Primetime saying that stuff about you, that's going to leave. It's going to not be a good look for you going down the road as far as like your next
Well,
steps.
why is it so much that one incident or a certain circumstance is so detrimental to one group, and then you get these circumstances all the time on another group, and it's not as detrimental?
But you're not hearing about.
Why? Why are we critical of each other so much when we're not critical of anybody else? Just what I'm trying to say is we got to understand that we got to take care of our house. Everybody else take care of their house.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other group other than us that don't show that they need to take care of their house and allow somebody else to try to take care of it for us. See, a lot of times you hear about the funding, and I get what you're saying. You hear about the funding, you hear about all this stuff, accreditation, and it's all based on money, federal money not get, because Biden promised during his campaign to fund $70 million to HBCUs. Now that's changed. You once you're in office, everything changes. So, but the thing is, you can't rely. You got enough influential people that's inside that graduated from these institutions that have the resources because you had a billionaire pay Morehouse, uh, Morehouse College,
Mm-hmm.
their tuition, that graduating class, but that's not enough. It's people behind them that that money, whatever that money was, could have been better spent providing something for all the colleges and encouraging other billionaires, millionaires to do the same. Sororities, instead of trying to funnel the money back. So I think that a mindset needs to take place
Mm-hmm.
to just like based on what you're saying about Dion when he was coaching there, it got his stuff broken into and things like that. It's like showing no appreciation for what I've done if you're going to steal from me. But you can't say who it was, but I'm just saying,
Oh, I'm sure they already knew who it was. They already handled it. Well, I'm sure they already caught the
right,
person and everything. But that was just something that I noticed when he was on his way out. Like he wouldn't talk bad about the school when he's there, which is what you should. Of course, you shouldn't do that. Um,
right.
but once
Ed
he
Reed is an example of that.
right,
You know,
and so it's just I once again I think a lot of people, well, not a lot of people. I think
Mhm.
people nowadays are also looking at it from a standpoint that, well, I mean, this is just how do I put this? HBCUs are great for the experience.
Experience of what?
Great for
Experience of
the
what?
black, as they say, the black experience. That's what you want to say, right? The black experience, but I don't think that is going to apply in the real world because you're not going to be around 100% black people all the time, which is the difference that you get from your prototypical college. Like you get the all different races and ethnicities and things like that, so you know how to interact with other people in society compared to when you go to
Not
HBCU.
in prison at a HBCU.
Say
I
what?
mean, you do interact with other people.
Yeah, but you
You
said a
know,
prison. I'm talking about if you just
I say it's not a prison. I
no,
say
but
it's not one.
I know, but it's just it feels like it's a different mindset because once
Mhm.
again, when we harp on this a lot, that we do it to ourselves. So why would somebody like myself, well, not necessarily like myself, but somebody coming up that's a young person of color or whatever, why would
Right.
they want to, especially with what just happened recently, why would they want to go to
What
eh,
just happened recently?
where the officers beat the dude, the all the officers of
Oh
color
yeah, yes,
beat the dude
yes.
in
I got
the gentleman in Memphis and
right.
he died? Yeah. So
That's
why
right.
would
That's right.
somebody that sees that and be like, let me go to an all black university where there's no
Well,
diff.
it was the same, but it was the same thing when it was white people
I
beating
know,
them, and they went to a white
but
college.
here's the thing. Once again, this goes back to what I was saying as far as getting your money's worth. You just said you have a huge amount of debt going to HBCU, right?
Absolutely, because
So
you
if you
take
go
the
to
money. Yeah.
HBC, why would I go to HBCU and incur this debt when there? It seems to me that there's more opportunities going to a prototypical, typical college that has potential to have more doors open because there's more people in places of power that can help escalate my career, elevate my career. Does that make sense? Like that, like looking at it from that perspective.
It makes sense, but what I do see is the product from HBCUs
Mhm.
is a good product.
Yeah, I mean
What I'm saying,
you're not wrong, but how many of those good products are in places that are with people that are
vice
billion?
president,
The vi- is she going to hire somebody to? Is she going to hire somebody at a Fortune 100 to so I can
oh,
put food on the? Huh? She has her. Oh, okay, okay, that's two. Keep going.
well, more, but I'm just
Keep
saying.
going. There's plenty more that went to your typical college, your prototypical college than there are that went to HBCUs is what I'm getting at. And those people have connections to other people. It's a trickle down effect. Yes, Oprah has her own show. That's nice. But the vice president, it's kind of like, okay, that's the vice president. She went to HBCU, but what what is that? I can't really follow behind a vice president as far as working or getting those connections to put food on the table. Whereas maybe, yeah, I can follow the pathway of Oprah, but even then, that's still probably going to be a stretch. Whereas I can go to this other school, make all the connections I know, and I have a better chance because there's more people that know each other at the top end. And then I get this piece of paper. They're like, oh, yeah, you went to my alma mater. Oh, let me go ahead and get you expedite this interview for you.
Hey, I'm not doing HBCUs any justice based on just the two people, but it's a lot more
Mm-hmm.
than that. It's a lot more than that. But I'm not giving them much justice, and I apologize for that. But what I'm saying is it was there. We wouldn't be where we're at today without that.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I want to ask y'all. You and here's something that kind of it didn't make any sense to me.
For
No,
go ahead. Go.
I want to ask your generation, just 100%. I want to ask your generation because I hear y'all talk about this all the time.
Mhm.
I get the
Yeah,
fact
I
that you
got
wanted.
my
No,
own
no, no.
thing.
I know. I get the fact that you had an HBCU because you couldn't go to the regular colleges that
Right.
were available at that time,
Education
right?
was
Yeah, I
was,
get that.
was
But
yeah.
now you're calling for people to be equal, then why do you still have the HBCUs? Everybody's wanting to be equal now. Everybody wants to be equal, have equal footing.
Absolutely.
Why are you still pushing the HBCU factor then? Shouldn't you just change that to something else or make it like another institute for something like maybe I don't know programming or something like not just making it an HBCU? Like if you want everybody to be equal, why you still have the HBCUs now? I mean, it's I don't get it. Why are you still pushing for this? But you want everybody to be equal, but you're still pushing for this.
I'm gonna
This.
ask you a question. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna ask you a question. Why don't they change?
Why doesn't who change?
Why don't they come to HBCUs?
Because everybody is going to the colleges for the. Uh,
No, no, it's a mix. It's mixed people come goes to HBCUs now.
mm-hmm.
It's not just all black.
It's what like 5.5%.
But but what is it when we go there?
You're more in like 30%, 30, 40%.
But what I'm saying is the education what I'm saying it's just like saying do away with why we were able, me,
Hmm.
you and I were able to go to those colleges is because HBCUs did what they did.
No, I understand that, but what I'm getting at is now now you're flipping the script. Not necessarily you, but the people I'm here wanting everything to be equal, everybody to have all these opportunities. Then you should change the name from HBCUs to something else, right? Or change it to something.
That's what it is. This is a historically black college.
Oh,
Yeah, are you
oh.
going to change the White House to a house
I mean, you could.
and take the white off of it? Just take the white off of it.
No, but
I mean, but you
what I'm
understand what I'm
getting,
saying is
I
certain
hear what
things.
you're saying, but what I'm getting at is it's funny how the script is trying to be flipped now. Everybody's wanting to be equal and this, that, and the third, but yet you're wanting to hold on to the HBCU and push it for the experience and everything of that
No,
nature. But you're not getting the if you're not getting what you need out of an HBCU, then why is it there? Like I understand you go for the experience, but if you're going to be in debt, if you're going to be
when you
in
say experience,
everybody says the
what
experience. Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I didn't go to HBCU.
no, no,
That's
no.
all I've. That's
I,
all I've
I didn't
heard.
know. The
When
experience is
all I've
being
heard was
in.
Battle of the Bands, the
Okay,
sororities. That's all I heard for experience. I don't know anything else about HBCU. I didn't go to HBCU because my preferred method was to go to a college where I was surrounded myself with other people of other cultures, so I can learn things about other people and learn how to interact with other people from different races.
but do you know who you are?
Yes, I know who I am. HBCU is not going to help me learn I learned who I am
And
from
when you
my
say,
parents. Yeah, I learned who I am from my parents who taught me well, who taught me everything that I
well,
needed to know. So HBCU is not going to do anything for me that me going to regular college, me going to a different college is going there was no difference.
I'm not saying that if you go there, you'll be missing anything other than going to HBCU. But what I'm saying is that when you say experience, it makes it seem not about education.
But that's all that is. Here's the thing. That's all that's been pushed. You can ask anybody in my generation. That is all that's been talked about. Like I said, from the movies to talking to anybody else. Oh yeah, you go to HBCU for the experience. Nobody
Would
said
you ever
anything
heard
here.
of
Have I heard of what?
propaganda?
Yeah, propaganda's all over in the world. I mean, there's no.
So you don't think that might be a
It,
sign of it?
it, it might be. I don't know. I'd ask y'all. Why do you keep telling us to go to HBCUs for the experience?
Well, no, I don't say for
No,
experience,
but I'm
but the
saying
thing
I'm
is,
saying people in your generation when you speak to them, oh yeah, you should go to HBCU for the experience. Oh, so not for the education or anything else, just for the experience, battle of the bands, the stepping and everything like that. Y'all tell us to do that. So what do you
no,
mean?
no, 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 no. We don't tell you to go there for some experience.
I guarantee you. You ask anybody, oh yeah, you go there for the. I want you to experience the
What?
HBCU. I don't know. Y'all tell us.
What do you think? What do you think?
What about what?
What? Because I've heard that statement, but that's not what. It's a different. Okay,
Well, when
listen.
you
You
just say
grow up.
experience without any.
You
Hmm.
grow up, and you're taught a certain way. You taught certain topics. You certain topics are watered down. Certain aspects of history, certain aspects of things that you probably need to know as a person to grow as a person.
Hmm.
You probably going to experience that probably at an HBCU that you
Or
would experience at a
or
because I went there and I took Black history,
or
but they probably got
or
a bigger in
here
depth Black history
here's
than
the
I.
thing. Here's the thing. Or you can have a parent that knows how to teach those things to you instead of you having to go to HBCU to learn those things. Like you said, you need both parents there, right? If you have parents that
Right?
teach you,
That's right.
if you have
That's
parents that
right.
teach you right, then what's the need of you going to HBCU?
What's the need to go to college at all?
I mean, you have to. That's
Right? If you're gonna go there, why go to college at all?
I don't know. Why did y'all
If your
push?
parents gonna teach you, if your
Why
parents gonna teach you
why
everything,
why
fine.
why push the mantra of, oh, you need a college to do well in life, but then find out that that's not necessarily the case. I mean, this is stuff that I've heard from your generation growing up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This is stuff that I've heard from your
College is
generation growing
not
up.
necessarily the only
I
thing.
know,
You
but
know,
why was it presented that way from your generation?
I'm gonna tell you because the fact that before a long time
Mm-hmm.
during slavery and all that,
Mm-hmm.
they knew the one thing you could do. A slave owner could do anything to a slave,
Mm-hmm.
kill it, rape, whatever. It doesn't matter. They could do whatever they want to do. The one thing they couldn't do is teach them how to read and write, give them knowledge. That's why.
That's why.
Now,
So no. So here's the thing. What I'm getting at is
knowledge.
that was presented as an end all be all. You have to go to
But
college.
that was the beginning. That's what started it. That's where we broke away from the chains of
But you're
not
still
knowing to knowing.
but you're still in chains by making it seem like that's the end all be all for the next generation. Once again, what I was saying is that was not saying that how I was raised, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you put your mind to it. Okay. But hearing other people talking to other people, oh, if you don't go to school, you're not gonna really be successful at anything. So what's your next plan? This, that, and the third. From the generation before us, that's how it was presented. So with that being said, why was that you're still putting yourself in chains when you're like, oh, if I don't go to school, I'm not really gonna be successful or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you're trying to do. I
Well,
just
well,
present that question to you because you're still in chains technically, right? You want to keep pushing the knowledge, but you're not letting people branch out to explore these other things that we have now because a lot of from people that may have not went to school that have built and discovered on their own. So it's kind of like, what are you talking about here?
well, the thing is nothing's going to be, or if you have a skill and you're good at it, people are going to pay you for it. It's nothing
Right, but
wrong with
what I'm saying is the
nothing
early.
wrong with that
It,
because that's the initial start.
mm-hmm.
We started as tradesmen. We started as going to school as brake mason,
Then
construction, wiring, and doing things the hard labor. That's how it initially started.
and that's all well
And
and good.
then are you going to be at that level for the rest of your life and not have issues of saying that I could be in Congress or I could be an attorney, I could be a doctor, I could be
Mm-hmm.
a physician, or a whatever I want to be, and I'm just subjugated to just manual or skilled labor. That's not right. Every human has a right to explore whatever they want. Just being a human being. And that's what the HBCUs, when it was developed, that's what it allowed us to be. Those attorneys came that fought for Brown versus the school district or whatever. That those attorneys came from HBCUs that fought on the behalf of education. You wouldn't have been able to go. You'd have been at that. You could have go to that school, but you'd be back in the corner listening to it. But you could never interact in that classroom or
Mm-hmm.
even with the professor. So it means a lot. It needs to be there because, and just like I said earlier, every group Our agenda is not everybody else's agenda. We no other group is going to save us. And what I'm saying is, you should always. This is your house. You didn't pick your house. This is the house you were born into, and you need to respect it and take care of it and nurture it and worry about how your house is, and stop worrying about how everybody else's house looks like or
Mm-hmm.
what's going on in everybody else's house. It should always, and it just makes sense. Every group worries about their own in the bigger scheme of things, and then after their own is taken care of, then they can branch out and take care of others. But if you're not taking care of home, in which HBCUs is part of home, and every graduate, every alumni, every frat, sorority, whatever that is attached to that should be funneling resources back to help them stay afloat, lower tuition, keep accreditation, and all those things. And not just to their school, as a whole. As a whole. And I know it's 100 different schools out there, but it's 100 different needs that need to be addressed. And there's enough people who have graduated from those schools that can do that and not rely on somebody else to do it. What I'm saying is they're not going to do it just because. You're going to have to find a way to get it done. What you going to talk about, Tech?
I mean, you went on you went on your whole you went on your little soapbox. Like I said, I'm not one to really push HBCU. If I was to have kids, I would tell them to go to whatever school they want to go to. If they want to go,
I can afford. That's be honest with you. I'm sorry.
well,
I can't afford
here's the thing.
that
Here's the thing. You give them
right
all
now.
the keys that they need in order to go to those schools. You instill. If we'll find out if they even want to go to school first. Like that's the
That's
first
right.
thing. Find out if they want to go to school. And if they do, then you steer them in the right direction, and it's not doom saying like, oh, if you don't get an education, college education, you're bound for failure, whatever the case may be, because
No,
that's not the case.
that's not.
So when I'm not going to personally, I'm not going to, if I have kids, I'm not going to tell them to go to HBCUs for the experience or anything like that. I'm not even going to
You keep
really.
saying the experience, but
I mean, you tell me, why do y'all keep bringing it up like that? Why is it presented like that? That's what I'm getting at.
I don't know why.
Your
I don't know
generation
why.
presented it like that to us. You go to a HBCU
I,
for the experience. Thank
I
you.
don't know why it's
That's
being
all I'm
held.
asking. Your generation presented it to us. It's like, oh, you go to HBCU for the experience. You didn't say anything about the education. Didn't say anything about any of the other things that the school might provide. But it's the experience. Oh, you want to go for Battle of the Bands? You want to do this, that, and the third. And that ties back into what I was saying. All that was presented from those movies was the quote unquote experience. That was the HBCU experience. So why would I want to go to something like that, Battle of the Bands or something like, yeah, maybe that's a once in a lifetime kind of thing, but I'm not going to go there if I already know I'm going to acquire a huge amount of debt to go see a Battle of Bands when I can just go there during my free time and go watch it. There's no point in going to the HBCU for that quote unquote experience if I can just go see it for free.
I mean, point well taken, but that's what the hurdles that the HBCUs have to overcome to get the tuition and establish their accreditation to a point where, so you know, if you don't do that, it's going to be the numbers going to go down, and you got enough resources out there to keep it afloat. Stop
You,
relying
you,
on a group of people that really don't have any dog in the fight. in a sense.
I hear you saying there's you have enough resources out there, but how can you have resources if the people aren't providing the resources the way they need to be? So maybe there needs to be an in-house cleaning of all those HBCUs and changed with some people that actually know what the hell they're doing and can actually put the schools in a good light or whatever the case may be. Because once again, you don't hear anything about the HBCUs in a
Until
good light.
Dion,
You hear
right?
him
Until
about it,
Dion,
but even then, that was for once again the moneymaker, the
money.
generator, football,
That's right. That's right.
and then even then, you hear about all the negative stuff that he had to go through. So if he's not being, if I'm an athlete and I hear that a school is not providing the resources that is needed
Mhm.
to possibly further progress my athletic career, why the hell would I want to go to an
I,
HBCU in the first place when I can
I,
go to
I get
regular school, have a better chance at
it.
going pro or whatever the case may be, and potentially having a better educational course with those ties to other people that will have me already have my foot in the door. I mean, it just doesn't. It doesn't.
These are hurdles. These are hurdles
No,
that they're
I
going to have to address.
and they're going to keep having to address them unless they start taking actions now. But with you have when you have people there and they try to do a good thing and then you want to sit there and tie them to a lifelong thing like with Dion, they're like, oh, he's going to coach there
Yeah.
for the rest of his life. No,
No.
that's not how that works. So he's going to leave at some point to go pursue other things because that's what you want to do. You want to grow and go take on other challenges, not sit there stuck and spinning the wheel in the same spot hoping that something's going to change.
And you must say he left it better than when he found it.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. Just build on that. Just build on, and that's the mindset that is a hindrance in our community. Is we expect somebody to save us instead of saving ourselves, and that's the problem. See, Dion's supposed to stay there to save when he left everything there for them to save themselves. He got the recognition, he got everything going, and then you got Ed Reed, who almost was a coach, but got released because he pointed out what was going on at that college, and this is a historically black college as well. But the thing is, when with Biden with the 70 billion dollar quote unquote he campaigned on to give to historically black colleges, and now the numbers went down. People in an uproar. But what did you expect? It's kind of like what you're saying. You know, why am I investing in this? What's my return? So what I want everybody to understand is they're not going to save you. We have to do it ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with it. Every group does it. You look out for the one that looks like you. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong for, a Hispanic to look out for a Hispanic. There's nothing wrong for a white to look out for a white. And there's nothing wrong for a black to look out for another black person who it's nothing wrong with that. But we take it on like if we do it, there's something wrong with it. Everybody else does it. You know, religious fashions. Christians look out for other Christians. Jews look out for Jews. Muslims look out for Muslims. Everybody does it. We're the only one feel that when we do it, there's something wrong with it.
Well, it's not just that, it's the fact that we're fighting amongst ourselves. So
Absolutely.
that's playing a major factor in that and why nobody wants to help each other. So I hear you on your point, but that's the major thing. Once people if they can ever get past the fact of infighting, then maybe things can progress as
And
they
that's
should.
what's wrong with the school. We need to stop. We need to help each other. Stop looking for outside sources to bail you out. If you start looking inward, then you'll find solutions. If you start looking outward, that depends on somebody else. Only way HBCUs are going to stay around at the numbers that there are right now instead of closing. I'm not hearing any of these other colleges closing and due to accreditation, money, finances, and all that. You got Morris Brown that shut down,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in 2003. Only way we're gonna stop this progression, even though the numbers are going up, people are going to historically black colleges now. The numbers are going up, but to keep it relevant, we're gonna have to look inward. So even though I didn't graduate from one, I never went to one, but I I appreciate the product that I see in the world as being productive and everything that these historically black colleges produce.
Yeah, I mean, you're and at time the HBCUs were prominent for sports as a funnel for a lot of sports that were starting to would blossom, the NFL, NBA, those sports. But now the you're not taking care of what you need to take care of, so those athletes are going somewhere where they can get better resources that are available to them. So
So
therefore,
more exposure, things like
that
that. Yeah.
too. But if you're not, here's the thing: football is going to more than likely be 50 to 60% of your revenue at a college if you have that sport. A lot of colleges that don't have those sports are like the really like well known, like you go there for like high end, like 0.1%, 0.1% like job opportunity, like
Right, right.
a Harvard or something like that.
Harvard.
Yeah. You don't go to Harvard for football. You go there because you got a big
Yeah.
brain that can't fit underneath your baseball cap. Um, but the colleges that the HBCUs that do have those sports, I would feel they need to start focusing more on the sports that's going to generate the money, because the only way you're going to progress is to get that exposure from those sports so you can build upon that like these other schools did. They built upon their sports, and that's why they're at where they're at now. And they keep generating revenue because they're producing one of the best products, and those people are taking those opportunities and using them to elevate their careers, and then potentially donate back to the school, even though they more than likely don't need it. But the kids now are starting to get deals from playing sports, and when you don't have a sports program that's like that, then you're not going to get looked at by potential, commits or whatever the case may be. And I understand people, oh, you're talking about sports, but I'm like, sports is one of the best generating revenues
Oh,
for a
absolutely,
school. Like
absolutely.
you
It is.
can't you can't ignore that. Like it, and if you don't focus on that or try to put it in some kind of position to generate something for your business, then you're bound to just be stuck in the mud, or you're bound to close. Like that's just the way it is. Like you don't have a TV deal, you're not being shown on ESPN, you're not producing a top 50, you're not a top 50 school, every other year or year, or you're not somewhere of relevancy, then nobody, if you're not relevant, then what are you doing here?
Yeah, absolutely. No, no, you're right.
So
You're right.
I hear you with the whole taking care of ourselves, but they're not taking care of the stuff that they need to take care of as far
That's right.
as the things that they have there. And when they had good things, they want to sit there and bite the hand that potentially feeds them. And so at this point, I'm just like, you get what you deserve. That's why I was just like, why would, if I have,
Um,
you get what you deserve. Why would,
I mean, it's people there. you know,
I,
one bad
I
apple don't spoil the
no,
whole.
but I get you. But when you hear those the funds are being funneled from the sports program to
Oh
other
yes,
things,
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You
you
know, you got to clean house. You got to
you
clean house.
get that's what I'm talking about. You get what you I'm not I don't feel sorry for you. Now the people that are going there, yes, that may not be there for sports. I 100% you have my sympathy, everything like that. Like I understand you may have went to the HBCU for whatever reasons you went there, but I'm me personally, I would not go. I wouldn't go because the yes, you're going to a historically black college, but you're also taking on historically black debt, and
I can
that's already going to put you behind the eight ball once you finish, unless you have those ties that may be few and far between to get. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong. There may be a lot of black people that have went to HBCUs that hold prominent jobs, but I I don't hear enough about them compared to the other schools that have people in positions like from I think one of my former bosses went to Texas. Like he was a manager and he went to the University of Texas and I was just like, oh, okay. Well, and so if I went to UT, we probably just hit it off. It's just that camaraderie. Oh, you went to my school, I'm going to look out for you kind of thing, like you were saying. But it's
right.
like with HBCUs, you don't really see that a whole lot. So
And you know that point taken. That should be something that they need to look at as well. You know, look, don't don't be in the shadows. You know, you went there. You in your position. Don't I'm not saying flaunt it, but don't put it in the closet. Be proud of it. You know, state. Let other people know where you came from. You know, and like you said, he promoted that. Your manager went to University of Texas.
yeah, and they had he
You know,
had it just hanging on the wall.
that's right. That's
It's
right.
like okay.
Why not? Why not? Not represent. Represent. Be proud of where you came from. Be proud of what school you went to. So I get it. You're absolutely correct when it comes to that. But don't expect somebody else to do it for you. You have to do it. Each individual person has to do it for themselves. And if you want this to stick around, you cannot look outside for it to happen. It's just like you looking outside for crime to stop in your community. It's not outside that's going to save you. Inside is going to save you. You're going to have to make a stand and fix the problem. Stop looking for somebody else to fix problems. We got to fix our own problems. And the underfunding, um, accreditation issues, we're going to have to address it. You're going to have to address it internally. Come up with a solution. We got a good, you got a lot of good minds, educated people. You can come up with a solution. We can fix this. Go start, going to your alumni, you know, not almost demanding. We got to fix this. You're a doctor, you're a billionaire, you're a millionaire. We got to start funneling money back. We got sororities that's been around all these years. You got to start funneling money back here, and not just to your school, to all the historically black colleges, all of them, not just your own, because it's all together. That's my take.
I'm yeah, I mean, I hear you, but I don't think that funding to all is going to. They're just going to look after. That's why it's called an alma mater and not
I
and
know.
so in your ideal world, that's what you're looking for. But I'm like, that's more than likely not going to happen. But and before we head out, I will say this: please stop saying go to HB. Give us more context. Stop just saying go for the experience. What's the?
Yes.
I can watch the
No.
experience. I can watch the experience on HBO Max when I want on demand. So please give us more information instead of just go. Oh, you should go for the experience. Because like I said, that's all I knew. growing up. It's like, oh, you should go to HBCU for this. They didn't say anything about the education. They said go for the experience, battle the bands, the stepping, and all that other stuff. All this stuff that came out when
I assume that was the reason. Oh, the battle bands.
they did. They never because that was what was out. Like I just said, those were the
Oh, yeah,
things.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Those
The
were the things that
movie.
came. You had Drumline, you had Stomp the Yard, you had all those movies that are out. And me coming out of high school, it's just like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, if I'm interested in all that, then that's what I would go there for. Never once did they say anything about the education or any other things that you would experience there. Those were the main selling points for the HBCUs. It's just like, okay, well, I guess.
Well, it's more than that.
Yeah,
But
but when you ask somebody and they say, "Oh, just go for the experience," and they don't give you any context or any details, that's all I have to go off of.
no, no, absolutely, absolutely. It's on us. It's like you said. Stop saying that somebody else. We got to take responsibility. Yeah. If that's what you got from it, then it's on us to, like you said, to clarify it. We need to say more than that. It needs to be more than that. Just the experience. The experience.
It's like
It needs to
I can
be
get an
deeper.
experience. I can get an experience anywhere. Like me, like I said, I can go watch that for free. I can go to Atlanta and go watch the halftime Battle of the Band show for free. I don't have to go to the school. So
That's right. Yeah.
that's the one thing that kind of, like I said, rubbed me the wrong way growing up was
Mhm.
hearing that and just like because I had a friend whose parents went to FAMU, and they were like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, go for the." I mean, they said some other things, but it wasn't really like the main thing they were talking about was the hype around the Battle of Bands and everything like that, joining a fraternity and all that other stuff. But they never really provided any other context
Right.
outside of that.
Yeah.
So that's all I knew.
We need to be deeper
So
than that. We need to be deeper than that.
mm,
No, we really do. We have to. And for survival purposes, if this is going to ever stay relevant, it has to be done.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, I heard you say those two people, but uh, from looking, I know there's more. I know there's more, but
Well,
those are the two that
yeah.
you can name off the top of your head, probably
Right.
without doing a Google search.
Well, just
Whereas,
current,
we're
current.
right,
You
but
know,
whereas I can name, five, I
stuff,
can name like a handful.
stuff like that. Stuff like people like that. But current. Yes, that's all I can.
Yeah,
They,
whereas somebody,
they do any
no,
justice,
no,
but
no. What I was getting at was just like I know you can name those two, whereas I there's probably like 10 to 15. A lot of people can name that didn't go to an HBCU. It's just like that. That was my point. It's just like you have yes those two, but you have a billionaire and a vice president compared to probably 5 billionaires, couple of 100 millionaires. That's all I was getting at. The numbers
right,
the numbers are kind of in favor of the
right.
your prototypical college,
College, right?
so
University or whatever you want to
whatever
call
you want to call it. But yeah, I think that pretty much. I mean, unless you had something else you had to bring up.
it. No, just about subscribing, sharing, and putting comments. We really appreciate that. It doesn't matter whatever your opinions are. Just voice it, and we love to hear it.
We can have
So
a good conversation around it, not go into this name calling fest and everything like that that a lot of people tend to take it. So if please just have something constructive to say in the comments. That's all I'm
absolutely,
asking for. Because
yes,
if you say something the wrong way, don't get mad at me if I come at you and correct you. So, so that's all I'm saying. Because
that's
I'm not the one.
right, right. So see, he took the gloves off. So, but yeah, please understand, we're all human and we all deserve respect. So just be cognizant of that when you put things in the comments.
All right. But that's going to be it for us, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. We don't have anything next week as far as guests or anything. So another another topic we'll talk about. And there's something I can probably just dance around because you see how this went. It'll be another topic where I'm just going to skate circles around him. He'd be like, oh, I don't know. So either way, but We're out of here, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
You all take care.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
Later.